Good morning, everyone. Again, my name is Bob Purdon, and after years of being in the field, in the retail automotive business, either as a salesperson for years, manager for years, trainer for many, many years, management consultant, in hundreds of dealerships, we would spend not a day, but a week at a time, and observe the flow of the dealership and search for opportunities for gain for everybody. After watching the flow of the business and finding that there were very few unique situations, if any, everybody had the same opportunities and same challenges. But one of the opportunities I had was in the fact that we would shop dealerships wherever we went. So we would send people out not to buy or not buy, but we'd send people out not to beat anybody up, but just be themselves, and document on a basic questionnaire what did or did not happen. And the feedback that we got from wherever we were was remarkable, because it was almost always the same. We could almost write the report before the person came back. And you'd have to say, why the heck is that when we're in so many different places? The reason that I am making this video is because I've determined that the business is a lot more complicated than people make it. There are books and books out talking about the science of the business and all the games and all the good things we can do, but it really is very, very basic. And what I wanted to talk about today is the basic function of the structure, but more importantly, the variables to it. I don't know if there's anybody that I'm talking to today that could not introduce themselves, hand a business card to the customer, get their name and write it down if they intended to do that. Absolutely easy. I'm sure that everybody could ask what the customers are looking for, and if inclined to, take them over to a product and present, in their opinion, the features of the product. Not impossible. Everybody could do it. I'm sure that if everybody was inclined to, they could set the stage for a demonstration ride. I'm sure that after they get back from the demonstration ride, they could have an opportunity, if they were thinking of doing that, of selecting a vehicle with the customer. Not rocket science. It doesn't require any special talent. Put the selection on paper and get a price. Everybody could do that. There's nothing that I have discussed so far that is complicated at all. That's the simple, basic structure of handling customers, I believe, in most businesses, but particularly the automobile business. The problem and challenges we have is in the variables to a very simple structure. What do I do when it doesn't go the way I was taught? What happens when the person's going to come in and they don't want to give me their name? Does that mean they're a non-buyer? Not necessarily. So I'll not address it at the moment, but continue to find out what they're looking for. It's not a big deal at the beginning. But when they say they're just looking, they're not buying today, and all of these common non-buy statements that they make. That's what I have to be ready for, and not in a negative way. So when they tell me that they're not buying today for whatever reason, my answer will be, I understand. It all begins somewhere, doesn't it? So in agreeing with them, I'm taking the challenge of what they're saying out of the equation, and I'm not paying actually any attention to what they're saying because it has nothing to do with their purpose and my purpose, which is what? To select a vehicle. You notice I'm not saying sell one, I'm saying select one. Because without a selection, nobody can do business. So the selection comes long before price. Price is a dominant factor in advertising, teaching, reacting to customers, and yet it's the one thing that has the greatest number of variables. I'll prove that. $300 a month. What does it buy for 12 months? $300 a month. What does it buy for 24 months? $300 a month. What does it buy for 36 months? $300 a month. What does it buy for 72 months? I'm going from an inexpensive pre-owned vehicle all the way up to a lease opportunity for the same payment. Now, how many vehicles that I'm going to show them potentially fall within that range? Most of them. So the variables of the price were built in. When was the last time anybody had a customer walk through the door and say, what can I buy that sells for $3,600? Or what can I buy that sells for $24,000? What can you show me? They don't ask that, they don't think that, because they're not thinking of their purchasing power through the variables of price structure. You have cash, retail, and lease. That's what's offered to these people, all with variables. So why would it be anything to do, why would it have anything to do with the selection of the vehicle when any one of those could fit any vehicle? So it's my intent to put price at the end, towards the end of the interview, and allow them to select a vehicle. But they'll walk through the door and say, what? What can I buy it for? What's my non-confrontational answer? As far as I'm concerned, whatever it takes to do business today. Let's just find the right one for you. What would the payments be on that? Folks, I'm sure they'll be comfortable, and it's whatever it takes as far as I'm concerned, but let's find the right vehicle so we don't gamble with your money. What's my trade worth? You don't want me to look at it, I'm not the pro, but I'm going to have our buyer, our professional buyer, look at your automobile, and you'll be very pleased with the value. Other than price, folks, which is very important, I understand, believe it. Other than price, what type of vehicle are you looking for? What basic features did you have in mind? Let's talk about that first. We'll get to the numbers. So what am I saying? I understand price is a factor, but I use the word other than. I did not use the word if I. No, other than. It will be there. We know that. But let's find something to talk about specifically, because I don't want to what? Gamble with your money. I'm shopping. Good, it makes sense, folks. Don't blame me a bit. So no matter what they say coming through that door that is a non-buy reference or statement, they're not going to find any arguments with me because I don't want to polarize them. And I don't want to have them defend a statement that they constructed either. They walk through the door. I'm going to hand my card, write their name, introduce myself. But guess who I am going to include in the interview? If there are two people. Mrs. The key to my success will be me addressing the lady as well, if not more often than the man. Why? Because she is the boss in most cases. She's the budget director. And if not, they'll tell me. So if I go to listening to him who loves to talk and be the boss, and I don't pay attention to her, you don't think she's going to pick up on that? And I can be losing this deal already. I can be losing the interview by ignoring her. There was a lady in Albany, New York. We looked out and we saw this lady walking across the front of the dealership. I said to the next person up, I said, see that lady over there? She's probably in her late 30s, 40s. Jeans. I said, you know what we've been talking about. You follow that approach. You take her through that process. You have a sale. 1.5 hours later, where was she? In his office, filling out a check for $18,000 at that point. She was a bar owner. Why was she doing that with us? Her words, because nobody took me seriously. And I knew that by watching her demeanor as she walked through the lot. There are all kinds of opportunities out there for the people that are going to think right. I can't even think about buying or selling somebody something until I find out a specific product. Can't do it. So what I have to do is make sure I keep the product in the forefront of my goal and purpose. So everything I'm doing is gearing for the selection of the product. Once they like the product, our association changes. Instead of being a salesperson, quote, to them, I'm now a partner, because we are both standing or sitting here looking at the vehicle that they like, and the next obvious question in their mind is, how do we do it? And then we start moving towards a transaction. So understanding that most people will not buy the first time in has nothing to do with me. It's the way it happens. Why? Because we documented everybody for 12 years. 30% could buy the first time, but when they come back, if we did a good job for them the first time and found a vehicle they liked the first time, what would happen? They'd be coming back to take a look at it. And 6 out of 10 would buy. Month in, month out, day in, day out. Made no difference. So we had a high value on the non-buyer today, making sure they were impressed enough by selecting a vehicle before they left and getting any other information. So we had a clear, distinct goal. It was the number of people that will look at a vehicle and say, that's the one I like. That was our goal. Then we could support that decision with everything that we could do to help them. So we had a strategy of what to listen to and what not to listen to. Before they select a vehicle, we made sure that we did not consciously confront any of their excuses. We would tend to agree with them. I understand, but let's do this, but let's do that. and keep the selection process moving without disagreeing with anything they really said. If they said the prices are high, aren't they? They are on everything. So they couldn't pick a fight with us. I want to make payments on that $60,000 vehicle at $30 a month. Can I? As far as I'm concerned, folks, whatever it takes to do business. Let's just find the right one. So we deflected all of those conditions until they selected a vehicle. But our approach to their objections, if you will, changed. Because now once they selected the vehicle, we started to work on overcoming their objections. The opportunity to overcome an objection came within a very simple formula. The formula was why. Now that they've selected an automobile and they say they want to go think about it, what would I say? Well, folks, it's been 3 years since you purchased the last car. So after 3 years, tell me, why do you want to think about it? Now, what am I going to do? I'm going to listen to their rationale and build a case for my rationale. Coverage of warranty, highest value today, the safety features I pointed out on the car. All of these things I'm going to pursue after they said they want to think about it. And I asked them why, and they didn't have a clear answer. Then I went to work. The why statement is so clear an opportunity that most people have no feel for it. Yes, I'm changing brands. Oh, I really? Why? I didn't like that service. May I ask why? I want to make sure I get my finances together. May I ask, what do you mean? I never took face value of a concern. I want to compare prices. On what? What's the issue? I made sure that they had to defend in one way or the other anything they said to me, and I used the word why, or what do you mean, to have them defend it. Once they defended or attempted to defend an objection, which nobody challenges them to do, based on their rationale, I would then approach them to overcome that. So it was not in the objection that I worked in their rationale for their objective. Tremendous advantage. Well, we're looking at a different brand now. No kidding. May I ask why? We want to go shop. May I ask what you want to shop for? Color? Style? What can we talk about? We have to go now. Well, folks, I'm a little bit frustrated when you say that because we've been together a certain amount of time, enough time to find a vehicle we like. But after all of this time that you've been driving your other car, and it took you all that time to get to us, why would you leave before we're done? Why not give us enough time to do what I said we'll do for you? We'll give you all the information that you'll ever need, whether you buy or not. So will you do me a favor? Spend a few extra moments with me. Well, we have an appointment. Can you call them and let them know that you'll be a little bit? Yes, it's important. The time's important. Well, why do you want to do it all now? Because if you leave and we're half done with our presentation, it will be forgotten, the important factors. So I'd like to have it all in front of you and document it so you can walk out of here with all the information. So please give me enough information if you will. No matter what they said, I was backing it up with the word why. It is the strongest closer that can be brought to the table without a confrontation. So I was never hung up on a specific objection. Shopping, price, everything that they said, I came back with, why is that? What are you trying to achieve? So that, I found, was stronger than anything they could worry about or think about. But I did not, I want to say this again, I did not address any of those challenges, if you will, of rationale before they selected an automobile. It was only after they selected a vehicle that I had leverage. I had no leverage, really, before the selection. So it was carefully utilized, these strategies were carefully utilized not to offend the customer. It was designed to help them. Well, look it, I want you to know something, they say to me. Look it, I want you to know something. Yeah, I like the car. But I'll tell you what, I don't want to negotiate. I don't want to negotiate at all. I just want one price, and that's going to be it. And I'd sit there and I'd say, well, folks, I'm frustrated, if you don't mind. What do you mean? Because I know that I'll be unsuccessful in doing what you ask. What do you mean unsuccessful? Well, this vehicle has 58,000 numbers applied to it. 58,383 numbers. You're asking me for one price. What do you think is going to happen when I do get the price, which I am going to? I think we both know that we'll say too much, not enough, not right. And then the tendency is for you to get up and walk out. Is that the way we want this interview to end? You like the vehicle. So other than price, can we agree to something? I'm going to get a price for you, including payments. I'm going to bring the numbers out, present them to you. When I do that, will you at least agree to something? You won't get up and walk out when they're not the right figures. Then we can sit down and talk about it and do whatever we can to compromise on both sides so that you can enjoy that automobile. That's all I'm asking. Rather than have you jump out, walk out, and we don't see each other again. I just outlined their game plan of leaving. And all I have to say is, no, we wouldn't do that. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. So by outlining their game plan before they executed it, I wanted to let them and allow them to stay here. Folks, you mentioned